Hello, welcome to the final session of our 2021 RTS Student Masterclasses. Our guest today is cinematographer Diana Olifirova, who this year was RTS nominated for her camera work on the very successful and fantastic Channel 4 series We Are Lady Parts, which I loved, by the way, Diana. 4 years ago, Diana's short film, All of Me, won her the Best Emerging Cinematographer Award from the British Society of Cinematographers. Since then, her career has spanned short films, commercials, music videos, and we'll see all of that in the clips that she's going to share with us today. As usual, we'll try and answer as many of your questions as we can. If you want to ask Diana something, please use the chat facility on your screen, and we'll take the questions as we go along. So please don't wait until the end. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm very good.
Excellent. So, Diana, let's start at the very beginning. You began your studies in the Ukraine, where you're from. Can you just tell us a bit about what you studied there, and then how that then led to your work in cinematography?
Yeah, I studied in Ukraine a BA in cinematography for 5 years, and then I moved to London to study National Film School. And in Ukraine, I always wanted to be a photographer when I was at school, but there was no studies I could do like in the uni to be a photographer at the time. So I had to choose something similar, and that was cinematography. And then slowly I moved into this field because I realized that it's a very interesting profession.
Great. And when you got to the UK, how did that all play out?
I studied in the National Film School for 2 years. That was my master's, and afterwards, it was a really long journey because I had to get a visa here to be able to work. And first 2 years, I spent working as a videographer for a company called Memrise, which is a language learning app, and I did lots of videos for them in both documentary style and more like corporate and commercial style as well. And that really helped me to also raise kind of my profile in short films and things like that, because I would go to all the networking events and try to do as many passion projects as possible on the side. And that also led to people being more aware about me in the world of, narrative and commercials. And then I started getting lots of offers. So I had to leave the full-time job and figured the way to get a different visa so I could do a freelance work here, and also had lots of contacts. So those 2 years were really good for me to have time really to do that. And that really helped. And yes, then
And
one
were
of the
you
short films I've done
making
won the award, which helped me get noticed by the agents and things like that.
and that, just tell us a little bit about that short film, All of Them.
Oh, the short film's called All of Me, and it's yeah, they approached me out of nowhere. Really, I don't know how that happened, but they heard about me, the directing producer, and that was quite a big budget short film, which was really good because we could really push a lot of into visual style of it and finesse the image. And yes, then I submitted it to British Society of Cinematographers because I'm a member of the BSc club, which I recommend everyone to get involved if they want to be more social and meet all the legendary cinematographers that are part of the BSc. And they also have this competition every year that you can submit your film, and they'll nominate, I think, about 8 films every year. And there is a big screening in Regent Street Cinema, which is amazing, and everybody gets to see it. And even just being selected is amazing. So, and then I won as a emerging cinematographer, and that was like the best day of my life. Yeah, that was really good.
And well, let's go to your first clip then, which is from Strange Cities Are Familiar.
Yeah.
It's the story of a Palestinian man who receives a phone call that's going to change his life and causes him to reflect on his past. Well, let's take a look at the clip, and then maybe we can just have a little chat about it.
الو الو اهلا سمير، كيفك؟ سامعك، شو اخبارك؟
سامعني أشرف؟
سامعك، احكي.
أشرف بدي خبرك شيء.
تفضل.
خبر مش منيح. ابنك بالمستشفى.
صار له شيء؟
أشرف سمعني؟
صار له شيء؟
معتز تصوب، ضغط عليه.
احكي لي بصراحة، صار له شيء؟
تقدر تيجي تشوفه؟
بشوف.
أشرف
الو الو
ليش ما تظبط؟ بشويش قتلته للشاب.
بعده يتنفس.
مش متأكدة. جرب تسكره على الجرح. ضغط منيح.
في دم كتير.
محمود في دم يا محمود. جيب إسعاف.
في دم كتير.
حبيبي بنزف. معتز.
في دم كتير.
معتز سمعني؟
معتز
جيب إسعاف ولا كلم حدا اتحرك. معتز سمعني؟ معتز.
Wow, thank you. That's a very powerful clip. Diana, can you just tell us, the shooting style is very specific. How did you come to agree on that style with the director? What kind of discussions did you have together?
This director, very much into documentary filmmaking, so he came from that background, and he shot lots of documentaries in the war zones as well. And it was really interesting because I like documentaries, but I'm not shooting that many of them, and I come more from like background of really fiction and making everything happen. So I think there was a lot of learning from each other on this one, and it was really nice to be able to do that kind of like, you have a scene and you stage it, but you're also very flexible and reactive in the moment a lot. And those handheld moments, sometimes I would feel like they're not perfect, something shaking, focus not perfect. I had to like do a little very long shot, very long move around him, and it was really awkward. I was trying to make it very smooth and unnoticeable, but actually the fact that it's more noticeable, it works because it's a little bit reflecting his mood as well, and it's a little bit more real that way because you're kind of there and you like try and catch the moment. So that was something that I learned there, which was really good, I think. And the it's like this is the opening of the film, and that moment when the door breaks and his son is on the table is supposed to be like a big surprise. And it's not supposed to look like it's different or his memory. Like the fact that it's completely merged within the reality, I think is very powerful and unexpected. And we talked a lot about that as well. Do we show it as different reality or do we not show? Is it in his head? And how do you like transition there? And I think it's really cleverly done because it's quite unnoticeable, but you can still feel something is wrong even before it happens. Yeah.
And just tell us a bit about those conversations you have with the director. Are you interpreting their vision, or are you bringing your own sense of self to it? How does that relationship work?
I always ask what they want first. I read the script and I reflect on it and make little notes, and also ask a lot of questions from things I don't understand, because there's a lot of different culture things that I might not understand. So I'll be always very open about my knowledge and say, I don't know anything, so tell me about this. And then I'll also ask questions about the actual script if I didn't understand the story, or something didn't make sense to me, or sometimes in the script there are things written that you can't actually shoot, but they are in the script. So I always flag those and say, like, do you think like we should lose that line from the script because it doesn't make sense to be there, and then see if the script will still make sense without the line. For example, sometimes it says something in the script. It says like the person feels anxious, and I'm like, okay, how do we make that? How do you make it visually? Of course, it might be for the actor, but I think it's so important in this moments in the script to make sure that if you want to show that the person feels anxious, how do you show it visually? Is it something we have to show visually, or is it something that you need to expand and make underline with a gesture or another action in the script? So I do a lot of those kind of digging in the script, and then I would ask director first when we meet what they wanted to do, and kind of based on what they want to do, I write it all down and kind of try to digest, but then I'll show my second pass thoughts after that, basically. So I'll keep it to myself, and then based on what they said, I'll try to reflect using my notes on top. Yeah.
And this shoot was just a few days to shoot the whole thing. Is that right? How did that work?
The short film, I think, was about 4 days, and it's quite long. I think it's about 23 minutes, so it was quite long. I think maybe it was 4 or 5 days, lots of locations, but there's a lot of handheld and a lot of long takes, which helped, I think, to keep it all under control. And yeah, I think all the locations were next to each other, so that really helped as well. Yeah, and also the locations we chose, I think, already had a very good style in them and the feeling of the space, so we didn't need to change that much. That also really helped. So yeah, I think all combinations of things and really good people involved make it easier.
And you're talking about the director and his documentary sensibilities, but I understand there were actors and non-actors in the scene as well.
Yeah, there were actors. Well, the main actor Mohammed, and then there were non-actors. I think throughout, the singers and some of the characters in the cafe, and that was also part of fun because you kind of get to capture real interactions and things, and that was really nice.
Fantastic. And just as you're progressing from your short film All of Me to Strange Cities, what was that journey from between those two projects? Was that simple? How did you make that work? Were you networking? What were you doing?
I think I don't know how Saeed met me, actually, the director. It must have been through some networking event, because I go to lots of networking events, and also people in the short film. If you've done 1 or 2 short films that people seen, that been selected things, and people find out about you quite easily. So I've done so many short films. I've done about 50 short films. So I've been doing so many of those, and I think I definitely got noticed throughout that kind of crowd. And I went to lots of short film festivals and things like that, and screenings. And there's always like a short film screening and then networking attached to it. So I would do all of that and, make like business cards and get noticed that way. And lots of people on that short film I also knew, like the costume designer Jovana Gospovic, I already knew from the events and things. So I think it's all kind of like collaborative. It happens because you are in that surrounded by those people in that community. And yeah, that was about a year difference between 2 films, and that film was also nominated for Emerging Cinematography Award, which was really nice. And for me it meant a lot, because I really feel for this film. I cry in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very emotional film. Now, the second clip that you've chosen is a different kind of emotional clip. And it's very different from the first. And this is Ghost Poet, Concrete Pony. And it's a music promo for a singer and musician called Ghost Poet. So why don't we have a look at that?
Why ain't my jacket like yours? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Desperate, I'm needing applause. Oh yeah, how can I measure my life? Oh yeah, emails and digital likes. Oh yeah, nothing feels real. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hit me, I wanna just feel. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Dreams from a satellite beam. Oh yeah, oh yeah. No hope, you might as well scream. Oh no, oh no. There is nothing. Fade to black and credits roll. Find the financier. Black hole mindset now. Sinkhole gatherings, black diados, jeans, my dear. There is nothing. Flickering light bulbs, wind from the east, whispers on the Twitter feed. More lies, more die. There is nothing.
Thanks very much for that. Now, that's so different from the first bit and really highly stylized as well. I just wonder, could you just tell us a bit about how that whole vision was conceived and what part you played in that?
Director Thomas James got in touch with me for this no budget music video, which was first thing I always ask is the song, because for me it's very important that I reflect to the song and I respond to it and I like it, because I think especially if you do a 3B job or something very low budget, you really need to be very passionate about it. So for me that's very important, and I loved it from the first hearing. Probably listened to it for a week in a row. And yeah, he had this graphic idea with the liquid and things, and he was just like, let's meet, I'm going to tell you, show you all the storyboards. And yeah, I came to the studio, showed me all the storyboards, and we figured out there's a couple of mistakes in that, because the idea was to like, we had to redo the set twice, one upside down and one straight on. And I think the way he kind of thought it should be with the construction team was a bit wrong, and I pointed out it was about mirroring it back, I think. So that was really good to just have that breakdown and actually do it in real life. So we did like a little model of it and then looked at what worked exactly, because it's really hard in your head to imagine how to build the set so it can be working in a cut and with the VFX on top of it. So yeah, that was really good to do. And yeah, then we had that liquid, that studio. I had to like pull all my favors from the RE. I think I got the kit and a really good crew and quite simple lighting package, but because it's black and white, it's quite forgiving. You can really get away with less lights and more contrast and just really, make it work. We had one zoom lens, I think, and the dolly, and we just kind of freestyled it a little bit through the song and did lots of passes, which is really important in the music video to have a lot of coverage. So there's a lot to edit, and there's effects with him disappearing and merging, and reflections made with a little prism that you can put in front of the lens and move around. So we've done that. Very simple tricks, but because of the, I think, really good song and rhythmic editing, I think it works well.
And so, with the kit, are you saying, right, this is the kit I need? Or is the director saying, oh, I think, these are the lenses we should be using? How does that conversation work?
I think it depends on the director. Some directors are very, adamant what lenses they like, and sometimes it's a conversation because, for example, I can have different opinion, but then I'll ask them what exactly they like in those lenses, and then we can come to a conclusion together. Sometimes directors kind of completely trust and don't want to think about the technical side at all, and they want to work with actors and performance. So then I get to choose whatever I like, and I sometimes would send them references for different lenses if I feel like it should be some very different look from normal, so that kind of way. And to see if they like it or not. But it's always a gamble, and sometimes, especially what is available in the rental house when you do a music video for no money. So you can ask for what you want, but they can only give you what they have available for free that is on the shelf. So that was like that. But I think with any lenses you can make things look good if you have a good graphic image that you can frame. I think it's a lot about the lighting and the concept and really thinking it through.
So on a shoot like this, how big is the crew, and where do the crew come from? Do you meet them for the first time on the day on set?
I work with lots of people, like on commercials and narrative projects. So when there's things like that happening, I would, ask them who wants to work with me on this thing just for fun, Or sometimes I would post on my social media channels or on different groups on Facebook where people are looking for filmmakers to help. And I would just post who wants to work with us on this amazing promo and see who replies. I think it's really important to actually reach out for people to be able to reach out to you rather than beg people to help, because I think there's always people who want to see how you work, who want to get more knowledge. There's a lot of people who always email me and ask me for, shadowing me on set. So that also is nice, like second pair of hands, someone who just wants to be there and help. That always, works. And the crew wise, I think I had focus puller, a grip, a second AC, and a gaffer and the DIT. So quite small because usually we have more people in the team, but in this kind of thing, we try to make it with smallest amount of people. Yeah.
And was this your first music video?
Oh no, I've done lots before. Yeah, I think this is the last one I've done so far. I have done no music videos since, and it's been 2 years.
And what is about music videos that particularly attracts you then?
I like that it has the opportunity to experiment and do bold decisions. You don't need to think that much about the edit and how things connect, the continuity of things. Often you don't need to think that much unless it's a narrative driven music video, which is also fine. You get to play with the rhythm of this music and really try to translate it into vision and really feel it through with the camera movement and really kind of merge it. Sometimes it can be very satisfying to really feel how the image responds to the sound and music. And you just have a lot of fun, and usually you just shoot as much as possible. So I really like it. It's different vibe on set. It's a bit more relaxed in a way, but also quite full on.
Yeah. What you're talking about with all of your projects so far, Dan, is feels like the importance of networking, of connecting with people, of reaching out to people, of being open to people reaching out to you. Is that like just tell me a bit about how that all works for you and how important you think it is for emerging cinematographers as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very people person. I love events and meeting people. Like even on film festivals, I don't watch films. I just hang out and meet people around, go to workshops and talks. I've just been to festival Camera Image in Poland for cinematographers, and it's the best festival to go. But yeah, there's lots of films that they show. I go maybe see one film a day, and the rest of the time I'm just there because I really want to connect with people and hear what they have experienced this year, share what I have experienced, what are the new technology things, what's happening in the world of cinematography and progress in terms of technical things and art things. So I just really like to be around because I think you really kind of share the knowledge and you can get so much more from talking to someone. And I used to go to so many networking events that people would know me before they met me, kind of thing. They'll be like, "Oh, you Diana, I know you." Just because somebody was like, "Oh, you should meet Diana, she's a photographer," and they would know me in advance, which was really nice. And I think that's the aim, to be noticed and be around people and just so everybody knows who you are. I think if you really want to try to get into the industry, you should try to be around, unless you don't feel, I mean, I never really felt comfortable introducing myself, but I had to force it basically. I think even if you don't feel comfortable having social media or networking, you should force yourself a little bit if you want to get acknowledged a bit more faster.
And when you were saying earlier about how people contact you and say they, are asking to shadow you, and that you find that really useful, is that advice you would give to people to, to reach out and offer that kind of assistance to get the experience?
Yeah, but I have to say I already have like 2 or 3 people I mentor, and there's so many emails. I always save them somewhere and respond because I think it's important to like acknowledge it. But you never know. Sometimes people message me at the right time. They message me and I have something that I need some help, and I'm like, okay, great, let's do this. Or they message me and I'm going to a networking event, and I'll suggest them to come with me, or something like that. And I'll just tell them, you should book this, you should do that. But yeah, I think it's always worth trying, and it's always worth trying to also approach camera people like first ACs and second ACs. So not just cinematographers, and just to see if they would take you on a shadowing or trainee job, for example, if you want to see the set.
And would you advise people to work for free when they're students to gain experience?
I think it's important if you are a trainee to get paid, because otherwise this will just keep happening, that people take advantage of you. So I think it's important to get paid in general. But for things like that, when passion projects, I think you can do a freebie just for experience. But always make sure, that they at least provide you travel expenses and food. Yeah.
That's really good advice. Thank you. Well, let's move on to your third clip from the brilliant and very successful Channel 4 series, We Are Lady Parts, which won 3 BAFTA RTS Craft Awards this week. Is that that's right? Yeah, which is just excellent. It's amazing. So congratulations to all of you for that.
Thank you.
For those of you who haven't seen it, We Are Lady Parts follows the story of the formation of a punk band whose members are all Muslim women. It ran this year to great critical acclaim. I'm smiling just remembering it. And for those of you who haven't seen it, let's take a look at the clip.
I had to admit, it was intoxicating being in the band. I mean, just look at these guys. Since my breakthrough at the pub, I was all in. We were lady parts.
Iraq, I'm Hackney after dark. I'm a woman, I'm a creature, I'm Madonna, I'm the whore. I'm the zombie queen, I'll eat your brain, I'm the girl next door. I'm a zombie queen, I'll eat your brain. Broken by the empire, raised by a TV. Misfit of the motherland, still fish and chips for tea. Broken by the empire, raised by a TV. But still, it's fish and chips for tea. In the boatman's eye, I'm your mama when you make her cry. Existential, who am I? Fuck it, let's get high. I float like a fart in the air. I stink like your dad don't care. I'm the POCBAME DOOPTSD. I'm a POCBAME DOOPTSD. Broken by the empire, raised by a TV. But still, it's fish and chips for tea.
All right, lads. I'm off. Fuck off.
Over the last few weeks, Aisha and Zarina had been seeing a lot of each other, and they had the selfies to prove it.
I've supported the clothing line since their inception.
Inception, great film.
The way they combine textures and colours is just like, It's hella magnifique. You are gonna love it.
Fucking love textures.
Despite Aisha's frosty exterior, when she fancied someone, she had zero chill.
Hey, so are we...
Are we what?
a thing? I don't know.
Why not?
Things seem to be going well for Aisha. And as for me, I was successfully juggling being in the band while still being there for Noor.
Look at her. Oh my god. I'm sorry.
No,
wait. No.
It's okay.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah.
It's just, what if this isn't right?
Listen to me. You are Noor. You're a trailblazer, a trendsetter.
You march to the beat of your own drum.
What fun. Thanks for that. Now, that, I understand, was your first long form project. Is that right, Diana?
Yes, it was, yeah.
So, and how was that, the transition into long form from your previous work?
It was challenging. It was made me realize a lot of things, and I've learned everything so fast. Because I haven't shadowed anyone or even looked at how it's done in this country. I've only worked on a long form before as a photographer in Ukraine, so it was very different experience here. And it was fun. It was really like you become like a family with the crew because you create every day for 2 months, 3 months, something like that. And it's just really nice how it becomes very synchronized and everybody's thinking on the same direction. So I really like that.
And technically, when you're thinking about long form, what are you thinking about differently?
You have to make sure that you complete the day. It's kind of boring to say, but if you don't complete the day, then you have still left over something to shoot later, and it keeps going like a mountain. So you have to like really make sure that you make the time very efficient, and you really plan which scenes are more important and which scenes are less important to spend time on, for example. So because there's always going to be time pressure, I think, ever, because you can spend forever lighting, so or rehearsing. So it's really important to have very good time management and control yourself, and in terms of visual side, I think, but also of course surround yourself with the crew that will keep pushing the vision till the end, and don't give up, kind of thing. Because when you work for so long, you get tired, after a while, and you just need to keep going and keep delivering the same quality. I think it's very important to always remind yourself that, and get, the people who would support you and remind you as well why you're doing all this. Yeah.
And just tell me a bit about how you got the job in the first place.
I think Nida interviewed me with something else, but then she remembered me, and then she got me
Nida's
back for
the director and the writer of
yeah. Yeah, and then she got me for the pilot of Lady Parts, and then we did a very good pilot, and it was successful. And she saved the team, and the whole team on the pilot transitioned to do the long form.
And when you talk about the whole team, how many people are there on set when you get onto a set like that?
Well, not everyone from the set was there, but the key people were there, like the production designer Simon Walker, or costume designer PC Williams. Kind of the core team was there, and the producers. But overall, I think it's about 50 people on set, around that, 50 to 70. I guess depends on the day, how many essays you have and things like that, and stunts and things like that. But in general, about 50, I think.
So that's a big team to find your place in. How do you have to collaborate, and how do you make that successful?
I think it helps to talk to everyone in advance and meet everyone, and of course we do like pre-production meetings where everyone is present from the HODs, and talks through all the challenges that you can face afterwards. And I think it's very important to delegate, so you don't have to do everything yourself, and you really just delegate things down the line to your assistants, fox pullers, and gaffer and grip teams, and they can delegate further when things needs to be done. So it's very important to just have a good management plan, and how do you like structure the team, and who do you talk to, and make sure that when the cinematographer works on set, they constantly get asked lots of questions from lots of people. So it's just very important to before you get asked lots of questions, you already made your decisions and you know what to say. You don't think when they ask, you already just reply. So that's very important. I think that's why good assistants and good people that you work with all the time will actually know what you want in advance without even telling them, because they know your style and your style of working. I would turn around on the next setup and it's already halfway done, because they know what we're doing, and they are just aware and on it. Yeah.
It sounds like being a surgeon when you're with your team and they already know what tool you need and they're already there ready to give it to you so that everything goes smoothly?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were shooting during COVID.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a big challenge. I've never, I mean, it was hard enough to have the first long form, but then you have all these extra rules, and it's like production is just being started in September, and nobody really knows what to do. And so yeah, this extra rules and extra time that had to be gone into that. So that was quite challenging as well on top of it. But yeah, you know, because we had a good attitude and everybody was compliant, it was fine. It was easy.
Can you tell me about some of the adjustments you had to make because of COVID?
I think we
The way
didn't
you're
have that
working.
many essays as we wanted, and some of the scenes we had to move into exterior space. For example, the final gig was outside, but because we found really good location next to studios, actually we really liked it. It was really fun to do. It was a bit like a challenge, and we loved the look of it. And I think some things turned to be better because of that. Yeah, and then of course, like we had to wear goggles when they were singing and masks at all times. That was kind of hard, so you have to shout over the masks when you have to communicate to someone. But yeah, and then sometimes people had to leave the set because it had to be a certain amount of people on set. And then we had this really good Q-Take technology that helped us to control the image, and everybody had it on the iPads instead of having one monitor, which I think is actually really good to transition to even without the COVID restrictions, because it really helps everyone to be on the same page, do quick screenshots that they can check later. I think it really changed the way I think about it now as well. Yeah.
And that's interesting that actually out of that necessity comes ways of working that you think actually this is better than the way we
Mm-hmm.
used to work before.
Yeah.
And now post COVID, have you been returning to sets more with more people, with less restrictions? And how's that?
I think it's still quite restrictive, to be honest. I feel like maybe restrictions even got worse because they found more ways to restrict you. Well, you know, I think every set has their own rules as well. So it's like you just need to learn it and just do it because, yeah, they're all different, and every time something new comes up.
Diana, you've been incredibly successful in a relatively short amount of time. What do you think contributes to your success? Is it your technical eye for shots, your expertise, your building networks, your the way in which you're putting yourself out there? What do you think are the key components for your success?
I think maybe the fact that I like to I kind of quite I choose projects specifically. I don't do everything. I think it's very important to be more selective and only do things that you respond to, and then that you like love. So then that shows because you put everything in them. You don't do things just for Of course, it's important to do job for money if you need them, but it's also important to really breathe and live in this profession and love it, because people can feel it, I think. So that's why I think it's important to just say no to things you don't like. Don't drag them around. I've done lots of that before, and then I've realized the more I do that, the more angry I become about it, and I don't like doing it. So I've realized I only want to pick projects that I truly love and keep going with them. And as well, of course, just my social nature and being around all the time. I think people know me very well and know of me, so that helps. And yeah, and it's fun.
Would you say there are any extra challenges you've had to overcome as a female cinematographer?
Um, I think there's a challenge of having to be a leader and not seeing that many examples of being a female leader in this world. So, my cinematographers that I was following were men, so I find it hard to like have a female energy but also have a male energy at the same time. And I think I keep playing with it and trying to find my style, and it's not easy. And yeah, I think it's just something I need to think about, and everybody has to think about what their leadership style is, and how to make it work with, especially with the crew who's not used to it, like some old school assistants that haven't had a female leader before. So there's a lot of very difficult things there. But you know, I think the things are changing, and hopefully there's more and more of us here, so that helps. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone who wants to get into cinematography today?
I think also do what you want to do, and don't be scared. You know, just be bold and show what you have inside you and inside of you, and to be brave to show your vision to the world. And you know, I think just go ahead and show it, and people will like it. Yeah, or if they don't like it, then they're not your people, so it doesn't matter.
Tell us about what's your next project then, what that you can share with us.
I've just finished on HBO show called The Baby. I did the final 2 episodes. So yeah, and then I went to Camera Marsh. So I decided to take a little break and see what's happening next. I think I want to do some commercials, short form projects, and then see what's the next move. Yeah, this year I was really busy. I did the Netflix show as well. I'm just finishing grading it next week. So that's also exciting. There's a lot to come next year. That'll be good.
What's the Netflix show so that we can keep an eye out for it?
It's called Heartstopper, and it's about 2 boys falling in love in high school.
Wow. And have you got ambitions, things that you want to do, be that playing with form or working with any particular people or anything?
No, I think I'm just gonna see what's there. I mean, I'd love to shoot Mission Impossible one day, and that's my aspiration. Maybe James Bond. But apart from that, no, I'm open to anything. And I like to play with different genres. I'd like to like explore a little bit more. You know, maybe I would love to do a feature film now because I've done so many TV shows, and maybe an art film would be great, just so I can have a little bit different mindsets and different kind of people and spaces surrounding me, so I can, you know, kind of try to explore all of that and put it inside me so I can then have even more ideas for different things. I like to merge ideas from one genre to another, from one style to another, and kind of just go with the flow. So I think it's very important to like have different people and different genres and things around you rather than just one, you know.
And are there feature films that have influenced you in the work that you've done in all your other genre?
No, I have to say my inspiration doesn't come from watching films or TV at all. I haven't seen that much, and I prefer doing things. So I would always go out and do things and like, you know, draw or, for example, or dance or things like that. I just really like to do things. So for me, it's always been about getting involved and going through the project together with the team and making it and creating it. Yeah, I do watch all the new films, of course, in cinema. I really like that experience of being in the cinema with people. But otherwise, I love film Playtime by Jacques Tati, but so far I have not seen anything like it to be, you know, involved with, and I would love to do something like that. So it's like very graphical, you say that? Comedy that is done in a very specific way in 1960s, and I just really like the way that it's visual, fully visual. It doesn't really have even much story, but the comedy comes from the visual and the editing together, and I just love that. I wish there was more projects like that.
Fantastic. Diana, we're pretty much at the end of our time now. I just want to say thank you. That's been absolutely fascinating hearing you speak, really informative as well. Clips have been really wonderful to watch too. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
Giving us your time today. We've all got a lot out of it.
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thank you everyone for joining us today as well.